speed.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to go straight into the deep end, obviously with time limitations. The main reason for our seeking this one-to-one was obviously the Guardian stories that appeared before Christmas. We witnessed what I would describe as probably a disconnect between the things that were being written about you and your constituents and their understanding of you and their recognition of a person who could represent them. How aware are you of that disconnect?
Well, I don't believe there's a disconnect. I would have thought you'd like to do the interview because I am the member of Parliament for Stratford-upon-Avon and you are the local paper rather than just stories in the Guardian newspaper.
We'll come to issues there, but I think these are
Sure.
things that people want to...
Sure.
to
Well,
ask.
look, I mean, I submit myself to the people of Stratford-on-Avon, to my constituency. I won the seat in 2010 with a majority of about 11,250. In 2015, they returned me as their Member of Parliament with a doubled majority. So I think many people who come and see me in this room on a Friday, like today, at my surgeries, who I go out and meet, like I will do after this interview, and help with their priorities, with their local difficulties, appreciate the work that I do and I have done. And I think that's why they endorse me and double my majority. The only way any politician can find out how connected they are to their local people is when they submit themselves to an election. That's the great thing about our democracy, is that we, quite rightly, the people decide who the best representative is, and they either vote you in because they think you've done a good job, I think I've done a good job, or they vote you out.
Do you think, do you recognise, do you understand when people maybe can't recognise you as somebody to represent them in the sense of things that are said about you, and obviously you will, you know, we're here to talk about local issues as well, but this has got to be addressed. When your voting record in Parliament says that you generally vote against welfare cuts, there are people out there that live on low wages, benefits, and then they see headlines relating to you in terms of property deals in the millions, your dealings with the Gulf Keystone, which again we'll come to a bit later. Do they recognise somebody as somebody who represents them?
Well, I was voted in as someone who was a successful entrepreneur before becoming a local member of Parliament. My background was very public, and when I canvassed in every village and every town in my constituency, people knew exactly who I was and what my background is. I was a businessman before becoming a politician, and we'll talk a bit more about how politicians have outside interests, which I think, by the way, are healthy. You wouldn't want a doctor or a nurse to stop practicing. Why would you want a businessman to stop being an entrepreneur? And I'm very proud of my track record. I'm self-made. And so I think many of my constituents actually think that's a good thing. On welfare, I didn't vote to cut people's benefits. I voted for reform of welfare. We now have a much better welfare system, I believe, a much more focused welfare system. I work very closely with Citizens Advice Bureau in Stratford, where we sometimes get cases where the government or the department or whatever bit of government gets it wrong, and I will champion those people's cause, whether it's their PIPs, the personal independence plans as they're called, where they think they've been, you know, the way they've been treated was wrong. That's my job. That's what I'm proud of doing. The best thing about this job, by the way, is the fulfillment you get when you champion people's cause. You know, on the Friday night when I sit here and do my surgery, and then subsequently I get emails or letters saying thank you very much because you've helped sort out my problem, and I'm hugely grateful. I had you know, people last weekend who made an appointment, I thought, because they had other issues. They turned up and said, we just want to say thank you to you, Nadeem, for what you've done for us. All the bad headlines actually get washed away when you get people saying that to you, and I'm very proud of that. So I don't see the world in the way you seem to have interpreted it. I see it as very much this government actually doing the right thing with universal credit, doing the right thing to reform benefit. More people are in work today than ever before. In Stratford-on-Avon, you know, I think we have the lowest unemployment of every single constituency in Parliament. I'm very proud of that and proud of my government's work in doing that.
I'll take your point on MPs having business interests. Do you think MPs can have too many business interests to where they lose that balance and between the parliamentary and public service and their private?
Well, I think, look,
personal business?
if you're a backbencher, I think it's healthy to have outside interests. As I just pointed out to you, you wouldn't want a doctor or a nurse to stop practicing. Why would